Please like, share, and subscribe.
Hello, and welcome to the show. My name is Ace, and that was our show, Cat Luna. And yes, please like, share, and subscribe to our show, and share us your comments on our news and stories. Here's our story.
Union plans to sue Columbia University over the anti-Israel protest violence. Yeah. Historic building last week. They barricaded themselves inside and left the place in worse shape than a Baltimore bridge. Calling out the Columbia president's cowardice for allowing her employees to suffer.
Everybody in the building, the entire TW workforce in the building was fearful, and rightfully so. They stormed in, but in particular, two of the custodians had to fight their way out. Imagine that. Imagine two kind of smarmy, sort of entitled, spoiled, bratty occupiers of the building come in and tell these blue-collar men and women, you're not going anywhere. You're staying here because this cause is bigger than you. When they had to get home to their families, it's outrageous. It's an affront to workers everywhere.
I'm Francesca Block from the Free Press Newsroom. By now, perhaps the most viral image that's come out of the student protest encampments of the past 4 weeks is this one. In so many ways, it was emblematic of this moment of tension reaching a boiling point on campuses across the country. We know a decent amount about the protester in this picture. We know he lives in a $2.3 million mansion in Park Slope, that he's a longtime anarchist and the heir to an advertising empire. But who's the other guy, and how did he find himself in this circumstance? We're so grateful that Mario Torres, who's worked in facilities at Columbia for more than 5 years now, has decided to sit down with us and give his first on-camera interview since protesters broke in and occupied the building where he works on Columbia's campus. Mario, thank you so much for coming. Can you take me back to what happened in those first moments when you first noticed something was going on in the building?
It was normal. I was on the third floor. Initially, I thought it was about five or six students, and I was just trying to kick them out, and I saw them grabbing furniture, and I'm like, what are you doing? No. I don't think I can curse here, but I was upset because, they were doing things they weren't supposed to. But when I look back, they just multiplied, and I can see my coworker Lester on the other side of the third floor, trying to kick people out. But we didn't think we thought that it was maybe 15 or 20 people. It wasn't like that, and you can't possibly fight off 100 people. They came from both sides of the staircases. They came through the elevators, and they were just rushing. It was just like they had a plan. It's like it's not like, oh, let's just break into Hamilton and occupy the lobby. No, they came up to classrooms and started taking furniture, and you see people with bags with duct tape and zip ties and all kinds of equipment, masks, gloves, and it was like, what the hell's going on?
Take me back to that moment. You're on the third floor. You see these people streaming in. They're wearing hoods and masks and gloves, and they've got bags full of supplies. Walk me through the events of what happened next.
Things happened so fast. Like I said, it was about 4 or 5 in the beginning, and then I turn around, and I'm hearing things. This is bigger than you. A bunch of stuff. But when I turn around and I see all these people, and I try to make my way over to Lester's side. He's a bigger dude than I am. But once I got there, I don't know which direction he went in. And then that's when I had the altercation with one of those guys,
How did that start?
Well, shoving, kicking, shoving, a lot of shoving.
You?
Yeah, picture, when you leave Yankee Stadium and everyone's trying to exit, right? There's a lot of people around. There's a lot of, moving parts. And I just kept on trying to yell, get out. I was trying to protect the building, but now let me out, and then don't touch me. Like, I was trying to say all those things, at once, right? And he basically, whatever. I guess the picture, it's there. But I managed to rip his hoodie. He had a Columbia hoodie on, and I managed to rip that hoodie off of him and expose his face. So as I tried to go downstairs, and they had already. There were so many chairs and tables like just thrown. They were throwing them like down the stairs to block it. And I remember jumping, like trying to get down. I was like, hurling these tables and chairs. And when I realized that they put the vending machine to block the door, I'm like, oh, what the, So I try to go back upstairs. Elevator was done already. They blocked that.
How
So
did
then there
they
was a
block the
point.
elevator?
First, they pulled the alarm because the alarm was ringing, and then they put tables and chairs to block it. Like they stuffed that elevator with furniture, so it was done. So I couldn't go down, and I I basically managed to, someone was able to calm me down and say, look, I'm going to let you out. We're going to let you out. We're going to let you out. Just calm down. I was freaking out. At that point, I'm
How did
thinking
you
about my
feel?
family. How was I going to get out through the window? No. And look, and I'm glad I did because, I know the cops went in there, and there was a story about a cop, discharging his firearm. Let's say they stormed in early, they wouldn't know who we are. It's just scary just thinking that you're locked in with a bunch of crazies. What I want to get out. That's the only thing you're thinking of is getting out.
How did you get out? Did somebody have to let you out? How did that
So
work?
yeah, so that there was zip ties already, and there must have been, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 zip ties, and so they had to cut it out. They had to cut the zip ties, and the minute, like not even like the five, because I looked back 5 seconds after, they were already tying the door down again. You know, I looked up. I remember looking up, and I noticed that the cameras were covered. How did they get up there? That's not like 10 feet. You can't give somebody a boot. Like these guys were pros. I'm sorry, you're not going to get 20 feet in the air to cover a camera. How did he do that? I don't know. And how did they know they were there? You know, and the vending machines. How did they know they this was definitely planned? I thought they stormed into all the buildings, and it was until I got out that I realized that they targeted Hamilton. And I don't know the history either. I didn't know there was history with that building before. I had no idea. But if they knew that, then the school knew that. And if the school knew that, then there should have been more protection. We had one guard, who left. That's why, like, I felt like we had to basically fend for ourselves. We had to play the part of public safety for ourselves and just protect ourselves because we didn't know what was going on. We had no idea.
Mario, backing up a little bit, how long have you worked at Columbia? And specifically, tell me about your job there and what it typically
So
looks
so
like.
we love our job. We're part of the facilities. We basically maintain order and things. We're not public safety, but we ma- try to basically keep everything running. And I've been there a little over 5 years now. My dad passed away, I don't know, 2017. When he died is when I found out that I was expecting to be a father. That killed me because my dad never met my sons, and I needed to do something for them. I needed a job that offered me some kind of security and benefits for them.
Hmm.
We've been there 5 years, and listen, and it's a beautiful campus. It's always manicured. We always felt safe. Um, you know, once the protesters came, and I don't want to get political at all, but once the protesters came, it felt um, kind of like uneasy. You know, it felt like you were on edge. You had to like really pay attention.
Tell me about physically. Did you suffer any injuries that night? How are you doing physically?
I got a little cut in my hand. Someone grabbed me by the collar, but my adrenaline was running. I was on 1,000, and I didn't even feel that until I got out and I looked at my hand. Um, I didn't feel anything. When I say that that was a rush of adrenaline and a rush of fear and and every emotion that you could have. That's what I felt like. It's hard to describe. I didn't I didn't, I didn't have time to take pictures. I didn't have time to look. I didn't. Oh, are you a student? Are you not a student? They all looked the same to me because they were all wearing masks, right? And people come in different shapes. Oh well, you're not 23. I don't know. I don't know. I learned the facts after, like everyone else did. Oh, there's 40% of more than 40% of those guys weren't students, and oh, we have this guy, and you know I wish I could give you more about how I felt. I just can't. Things happen so fast, and you're moving. You're moving basically without thinking. It's just instinct at that point. You're not really thinking. You're not. You don't have a plan. They have a plan, but you don't. Your plan is well. Let me see if I could get downstairs to the tunnel. No, can't go to the elevator. I can't leave to the front door. Well, how the hell am I going to get out of here now? You know, and then when you see the chaos, or when you step back and you see the chaos, and you start hearing them, and what they're doing, and you're like, this is a movie. This is a movie, and I'm gonna be trapped.
So, obviously, after this incident happened the next day, this photo goes viral of you and one of these protesters. We later found out through the news who this guy was. And I know you don't really want to speak much to, who this guy was. That wasn't really your concern that night. But, you know, when you did find out that some of these people weren't students, what was your reaction then?
The next day, I had to turn my phone off. It wasn't until maybe Thursday night, maybe Friday, that I was able to, because I was still running on high for 2 days. I didn't want to look at the news either. I just wanted to be left alone for a minute. It was kind of like, looking back, you're like, wow, imagine if things could have been a lot worse, right? And that's what you keep thinking, and you're like, I remember, Friday and Saturday, over the week, hugging my sons, and Daddy loves you, and that felt great. You know, that's something, looking back, you didn't you're like, that probably couldn't have happened. I wasn't thinking. I don't want to talk about that guy. I guess everybody knows who he is. I Thursday, Friday, I saw all these posts, and then I got scared again. My anxiety kicked in, and I s- I knew, because everyone knows this. You could be a good guy or a bad guy, but the internet, there's going to be a lot of people that say bad things, mean things, and they can, people can find you. And I was like, wow, I'm all over these channels, these pictures. God knows what they're saying. Turned off my phone again. I'm a regular dude. I'm a regular guy. That's it. I have a family. I have problems like everybody else does, right? My life is not perfect, right? It just so happens that they stormed my building, and I was I was there, but I didn't plan on this to happen. Um, and how do I feel now? I feel lucky. Do I feel anxiety sometimes? Yeah.
Now that you've had a couple days to sit back and reflect on what happened, and you've seen some news clips and you've read a couple articles to understand the scope of things, what are you reflecting on now? What are you thinking about now?
Well, I know Lester doesn't want to be in the building. I'm not sure if I want to be in the building. Um, the good part about that particular shift is that, if anything, if my kids have a day off or a week off, or if they're sick, I can go get them. If they have family fun day, for example, I'll go there early. And I'll do whatever. And that shift is convenient. But now, I I don't know if I want to be there at night. I don't know if I want to be there. Period. I don't have the answers to that yet. I'm still kind of processing everything. And I think it all comes down to the school, and it's not really public safety's fault. But even though I felt abandoned by them, but I think the school could have done more to a prevent this, and to be um, to to be there for us when we needed them. You know, we don't expect to go to the work and get swarmed by an angry mob. with rope and duct tape and masks and gloves. It's the last thing on our minds, you know? So, there's the issue. Was there security breaches before? Yes. Should there have been more security? Absolutely. You know, did we know about, the history of that? No, but I'm sure like I said, someone did, and they should have protected us a little more. That's it. Public safety is two buildings down or up. They're in low. I'm in Hamilton. I didn't see, even when I left the building, I didn't see one public safety officer. What's that about? You know what I mean? Were they told to stay in place or something? You know, I don't know, but they didn't tell us that. We had to fight our way out. You understand?
Hmm.
So I don't know.
We're speaking now. You're at your home with your family right now. Why haven't you been back to campus since the incident?
So last night I got ready to go to work. Um, I showered. I actually had I was ready to go to work. And last minute I said no, I'm not going. I'm not going. Um, Lester was already on campus, and he was just describing it as a very like a weird night. It was raining. He was like, the campus is dead. This feels so weird. And I got bad vibes for some reason. And I said, you know what? And I called out late. I said, I'm not going. I said, I'm not going in. I don't feel comfortable. And then today, um, I was on campus earlier, right, with the people I had mentioned, and um, and then I see the protesters again, and I'm like, I thought they were gone. They're still here. And then they said, oh, well, they're going to plan something big at 4 o'clock, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm going home, right? I want no part of it. Like, what are they still doing there? You know, I know it's a public sidewalk. I know they're not in the campus, but they make people feel uncomfortable. Other workers, they need to find another place to protest. You know, because when it comes to the public safety, the worker safety, people don't feel comfortable walking through a mob to punch in to get into campus. That's crazy. They're right there. You know, move them, put them somewhere else. you know I don't know, but that's I don't think I'm going to go to work in today knowing that. When I saw that happen, I'm like, I wanted to go home already. Because I know I'm safe here.
What do you think about their message and what they're protesting?
I don't want to get into why they're protesting, who's wrong or who's right. um, that's not the story here. That's happening now nationwide. you know and that's not something that I want to get into, whether I believe in what they do or not. That's you know I have nothing to do with what they want, and I don't care what they want. Leave me alone. Don't touch me. Let me out. That's it. You know, I don't want to get into stuff like that because, you know, listen, I know they're funded by someone. You know they're funded by someone. People know that they're funded. We figured that out when we saw all the same color tents, and then it came out in the news that NYU has the same color tents. Someone's funding them. We found out who this paid agitator is. He's worth millions. I'm not, right? So someone's got deep pockets. I don't want to. I don't want to piss people off. You know, I'm easy to find. You can find me. My name is out. You can find me. I'm sure you can. If they have that kind of money, they can find me if they want to. So I don't want to. I don't want to touch that situation at all.
Mario, tell me about, I guess, right now. What are your priorities going forward right now, and what are some of your biggest concerns?
My priorities are, obviously family. Um, my concerns now are, I haven't been to work since that happened. I have a family to support. I'm talking to you. This story is going to blow over. Um, am I? Is Columbia going to retaliate and find a reason to fire me? Um, is someone going to come after me? Am I going to have a job? Is it was it worth um, was it worth telling my story at what, at what cost, at what risk of then getting fired a month later when everything blows over, and then, oh, see you later. No one's going to know about me, and no one's going to care about me, right? So we are taking a big risk, doing this. But I think that they failed. They failed us, and I think that's the bigger story. They failed us. They should have done more to protect us, and they didn't.
Well, that's all, folks. And thank you. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you next time.
See you all next time. Please like, share, and subscribe.